you will enjoy the rest of the evening after me. I won't be going to technical details. This will be a very light topic, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's go back to the basics. All of us, including me here, are for just one reason, for the conversion. Traffic conversion, customer conversion, whatever you call them. But the aim is to convert more, whether revenue, profits, whatever it may be. So let's talk about some basics which I found we are missing in the whole industry, especially in the data analytics and big data world. I'm missing the ticker. Oops. About me, in this industry from past 10 years, originally from India, you can see. I'm a PhD in statistics, and my topic was very interesting. I was looking after the traffic data over the US roads, and I built a very fascinating model which is applicable to the web data. That's my PhD from Loughborough University, into conversion optimization, digital analytics, and market insights. People call me a numbers person. Some people call me, you are mad about numbers, and so on. But I'm perfectly fine. You can see me, 2 hands, 2 toes, yes. Only 3 things at very top level: measurement, analysis, and optimization. And this is a key word here, innovative optimization. What innovation means to you? You? What does innovation mean to you? Yeah. Anyone? Change. Innovation? Anyone from this side? Sorry? Something new, something exciting, which excites you. That's you. Dance about it. Being a researcher or coming from research background, I think every piece of optimization should have some innovation element in it, and I'll talk about it later. Let's start with the basics. Measurement. All of us. I think most of us lives every day we start with this word measurement. When I'm living in Birmingham, and I'm commuting daily from Birmingham to London, and on my way from Birmingham to London I keep on thinking, what is new I have to measure today for the clients, or for me, for anything else? But then I can't get rid of this word from the rest of my life. Measurement, but then this word revolves around one thing, which is context. Key thing which most of us miss. We are measuring data all day, all night. Google Analytics, Omniture, Web Trends, and tons of other systems are doing this job for me, but most of them are doing without this word. Why? Next slide is the question for you all. How many of us sitting here have definite set of KPIs? Okay, let me ask you an easy question. How many of us have less than or around 20 KPIs? Please raise your hands. Less than? Less than 10 KPIs? Less than 5 KPIs? And rest? If we don't have any KPIs, to me, I think we are missing those 3 things: goals, objectives, and marketing efforts. How? If I go back to that slide, how will I bring context to my data? What I need. What do I need data for? To convert. At the end, what is matters is conversion. But if my data is without context, without KPIs, then it's rubbish. We are wasting money, we are wasting time, we are wasting efforts. So, next thing for me is to look for that data which can tie up with my KPIs. But then how that can be done? To be honest, it's a challenge for analysts like me and many others who wanted to do this in career, who wanted to make their life in this data analytics industry, but then somehow they're missing the key things. Let's look at some examples. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm a big fan of information, not numbers. And that's one of those points which we miss. We look at the numbers, but we miss the information, we miss the story from where it starts, where it ends. How? My CEO wants to know about the exit rate, but is it the actual metric I should report on? I don't believe this. Exit rate to me is just rubbish. For those people who don't know what exit rate is, exit rate, if someone is exiting from any digital point of view, any digital asset like mobile apps or website, for me, If I can measure those elements which are responsible for this big exit rate, I can optimize. But my CEO don't know that. And so I cannot tie this back to this slide. Because exit rate is not my KPI, and I'm not getting those efforts done which can bring these elements workable in my case. Another example. All of us very fantasized by this metric called time on site. I think this is rubbish, and I can make sure that you believe it, because it's not the time on site, it's actually those elements which is making this metric look more stronger. If you can work on those elements, if you can improve on those elements, time on site ultimately can get improved. Going back to the KPIs, another example. We think bounce rate should be given more importance to anything else. But then do you think? Is it the case? If I'm a business person, what shall I look for? A revenue gap. If my monthly targets are going down, it doesn't matter. What is bounce rate? If I'm meeting my monetary level values, then that's fine. It doesn't matter. But we are not looking at the actual metric. We're missing the main thing because we don't have those KPIs. If revenue gap or my daily revenue, monthly revenue is one of the KPIs, I mean, those who have less than 5 KPIs, they should understand that you can only work with some sort of important decisions in the business. Not every decision is important. And the guys, I'm sorry, if you have more than 10, 20 KPIs, I think it is very difficult to measure everything. You can't think that everything is important in the business. You have to drill them down, bring them 2, 3, 5. That's the most thing. I mean, it's not just for us. Businesses like Mercedes-Benz and Massey Ferguson and so on, even those guys are struggling to find out what actual KPI should be in the business. Another example, and quite interesting, we always look for the average order value. But I think we're missing one thing, average shopping cart value. People might be adding products in the shopping cart, but they're not ending buying them. But then what's the reason? Have we ever analyzed? My CEO never asked me. He always asked me, what's the average order value? But looking at the number, looking at the graph, I don't know what's going on behind the scene. Someone might be adding products at this level, but might not be ending at a sale. And then what's the reason? I don't know, because that metric is not telling me anything. Is it? Finally, in the measurement side, and all of us been discussed this thing from last 2 days, you guys have been discussing that we need integrated data, and today we have those tools and capabilities that we can do it, but still we are not using it to the most so that we can tie back to the KPIs. Takeaway, I think we should start looking for the information, for the story behind the numbers, and try to come up with some sort of storytelling with the numbers, underlying context, and this should be the measure. I've been doing these talks at the Google seminars also, and even Google Analytics teams, they are struggling to look at the client's KPIs. Why? I mean, because clients themselves are not very clear what they should measure with the tools. Analyze, I won't touch everything, but only 2 things here. Analyze the customer behavior and feedback. And I'll give you a real life example. I'm coming from a financial services background. I'd worked at HomeServe. If you know about the boiler insurance thing, you know the name. And I will give you some example why this is the second most important thing in the digital industry. Analyzing visitor behavior. We all know these things. We know that it's important for us where they go, what they do, post-exit journey, and so on. But are we really paying attention to them? When we did something, we remove some obstacles and look at those elements which are not converting, and look at those elements which are converting, improve the things. The results are on the left-hand side. Conversion rate and reduction bounce rate. But then again, a few minutes ago, I said that bounce rate should not be my key metric. You should question me, Candy, why are you having that on your board? Going back, because those people who are sitting up over there, they want to see these numbers. But then this number came from these efforts. Improvement in page elements. I will never be able to do that if I don't know that. Second example, again from HomeServe, and because I'm a client-side person, I mean, there's nothing for me to say to sell you guys, so you should be able to believe me that we missed this part. And those of you who are active news readers, they should know that early this year, HomeServe have got a fine of almost around 26 million from FCA. Why? Because we missed this bit. We never analyzed the feedback from customers. We never tried that how to convert, how to change the conditional praise to constructive criticism, and vice versa. When we actually started looking at the feedback from the customers, because we were doing some mis-sellings, we were doing some bad claim services, and when we figured out that was the reason, this was the case when we were not looking at the feedbacks, and this is the case when we actually started looking and taking care of that. But this happened after the big fine, and 640 people made redundant in last few months at HomeServe. Again, when we were not doing anything, that was the case, but then we started looking at the customer feedback. Now actually we know, and this is a proud thing to say, that 94% people actually want their friends to buy HomeServe products. How many of us actually doing this kind of activities to convert more? I know, I was a part of the team, I know that how much we have suffered and how much we have lost in terms of the business, in terms of the people, and every single effort. Another example, when we actually started looking at those feedbacks, naturally we started getting things like these stars in the Google search, which is natural. We can't pay for these stars, we can't pay for these ratings. This is naturally picked up by search engines. But then going back to those KPIs is getting customer feedback is one of my KPIs. Is customer satisfaction is one of my KPIs. If not, we can end up in this situation as HomeServe. Takeaway, and again, this may be very common words, but then yes, it is worthless and feedback is priceless, because if we may, and to be honest, let me tell you a story, we just missed one feedback. That one lady went to FCA and the whole story started 3 years ago. We missed one feedback because we don't have any social team at that time. And so every single feedback, every single piece of information coming from customer is important, but I don't think so all of us are paying attention to that. Last session is, again, and this is my favorite one, optimization via innovation. I will present 3 case studies in the session, and 3 videos in fact. But before that, I want to ask you about this quote. This is a very famous writer, honestly, and he said that a few years ago that it's all about ROI. We know this ROI. Can I ask you what you mean by, what does COI stands? Anyone? No idea? Again, it's linked to the last slide, or the HomeServe example. Cost of ignorance. There's nothing? Yeah, it's about it. I mean, our marketing director, when he came to us, and I mean, he was like, guys, FCA have given us 21 million fine. And that is the cost. You can't measure it when you actually ignore it. But then when it happened, you got to know that you have done something big. Can we play the video? Look at the video and then we'll discuss what is I'm trying to say here. Okay, so we started with the innovative optimization. Now, this video resembles, I think, a story of all of us. Whenever we started buying something, we actually thought of buying something. It's not about going to the website, looking at the product, selecting the product, buying the product, and that's it. I think the story revolves around the whole ecosystem around us. And are we taking into consideration the whole ecosystem when we are making decisions in our digital marketing team? Are we thinking about this process, or that process? Where we are, how I know as a marketer where I need to look at most importantly. Again, we know that, my friend also talked about the single customer view, but that is something which is still missing and which is still need to be taken care of, especially when we have got so many channels for customer to come in. But which channel should I give more importance to? Do I know the answer from where I'm starting? Going back to the KPIs, is omni-channel marketing is on my KPI, which is the most important marketing channel in my company. What is driving the most? Email, call center, what is it? Attribution. What is actually, and it's not just attribution, it's not about those things which originate, which assist, or which actually convert. It's more than that. What type of things we're looking at, what type of models we are considering. I'm just looking at revenue model, I'm looking at retention model, what I'm looking at, what is the main business decision I'm making by looking at these different things. That's the whole piece. So the point I want to make here is, all of us are sitting here, we are from digital marketing industry, but I think they still need to enforce attribution modeling with some innovation to know deep more insights. I think most of us know about these stuff, but then how many of us doing it, I'm not quite sure. Can you play this video? This is another example of the innovative optimization.
Know someone who deserves a Starbucks coffee? Now it's as simple as sending a tweet. Introducing Starbucks Tweet a Coffee, a cool new way to give the treat of Starbucks. Tweet Starbucks to your yoga teacher, your dog walker, or someone you follow but have never met. Use it to celebrate and reward the big and small things. Once you've linked your accounts, all you have to do is tweet @tweetacoffee to your recipient's Twitter handle. You can even include a short note. They'll receive a tweet with a link to a $5 Starbucks card e-gift that they can redeem right off their phone at participating stores. It's a new way to say, you're awesome, this Starbucks is on me. To get started, go to starbucks.com/tweetacoffee to connect your Starbucks and Twitter accounts. Then you're ready to go. Only from Starbucks and Twitter.
Now, this campaign happened in the US last year, and the challenge they were facing was selling coffee online, which is literally impossible. You can't sell coffee online. But then going back to the word called innovation, that's the most important thing. We can optimize and keep on optimizing for coming hundreds of years, but if we don't have that innovative part, we're just missing the whole thing. And let me show you the results here. This is just 1 month into the campaign. This will be launched sometime later this summer in the UK also, but then that's the whole thing I'm talking about. And the last example about a big thing which is coming this year, towards the end of this year, is about Massey Ferguson. In 1956, I don't know, I'm not quite sure how many of us have actually born at that time, but then in 1956, Massey took tractors to the South Pole. And that was the year where Massey and Ferguson actually joined and this company came up into existence. They were thinking about doing something very similar, but then on the other side of the world, there's something else going on. I don't know if you're aware of this lady or not, but this lady, we call her a tractor girl. How many of you know about it? Anyone? No one? In 2004, this girl over there, when she was just, I think, 21, she is coming from the theater industry, and she thought that people are losing, they're losing their belief in the dreams. And she thought about a very wonderful idea that she will drive to Antarctica. She's from Netherlands, from Europe to Antarctica on a tractor, collecting dreams of the peoples all across the world on a sheet of paper, and then when she will go to Antarctica, she'll make Iceman, what you call the ice man, and bury all the sheets of papers in the Iceman's belly. And she's still on her way. It's still not, journey is still not completed. She actually delivered a baby last few months ago. But then look at the two stories. They took tractors to South Pole 50 years ago. She wanted to go there on her own just to reinforce in the people that you should not stop dreaming. Whatever is a dream, it will come true. We combine these two stories and have a look at this video. Innovation. Can we play this?
Antarctica, eyes of the United States and Europe together, has never been crossed.
Here we are going to do a reenactment of this epic Hillary expedition.
We're going to take 356s to the South Pole.
Now you might be thinking, why I'm showing this video to you? This is nothing related to digital. But the one main point I want to just say that happened in 1956. The thing was non-digital era. But we are making it happen now in digital era. Social media, digital websites, microsites, live streaming, and everything will be happening late this year in October, November, and you will watch, the world will be see tractors going to Antarctica in this digital world. You won't be here, you won't be there if you can't make it. You can make it if you want to go with the tractors, but if you can't, you can still feel linked and connected to the whole journey. That's the whole point, guys. Innovative optimization. I have thousands of examples like this: Pinterest, Twitter, Vistaprint, and so on. But then the main point is how much we are thinking out of the box. That's the key thing. And that's the last point. Innovative optimization is the key to success. You might won't be able to measure it, but then it do have some sort of hidden ROI in the word itself. Tying it all together is the MADOC approach, where the journey starts at the measurement of the contextual data and ends at the converting non-converting traffic. That's all the story about. We are following this approach for every single client out there, and personally I actually built this approach, this methodology. I think we filed trademark for this last month. Hopefully we get this patented. And that's all from my side. The key takeaways, and going back to the first thing, researcher, this is the famous quote which is all about innovative thinking and the innovative approach. Thank you. Any questions? I don't think that you have. No one?
Thanks. On one of your slides, you had the quote that visitor behavior is worthless and visitor feedback is priceless. I pretty much disagree with that wholeheartedly, because isn't that then ignoring all of the implicit feedback that you're getting from visitor behavior on your site?
You mean, they are priceless and they are worthless. That's the key point in it, because we are missing the key thing. We have click maps, we have heat maps, everything we have in our industry, but how much are you looking at? As an analyst, I'm the one who can roll up the sleeves and get my hand dirty into data. When I compared a heat map of a customer who bought the product 2 a.m. in the morning, and this is happening, insurance products are getting bought at 2 a.m. in the morning, and when someone who buy the product in the evening time, the two heat maps are completely different. We have the data, but then what's the key thing is missing? that customer who actually bought the product in the night time already done the research, so is it still worth showing him that same marketing message which you already seen? And again, analyzing that behavior is important. But then that's why we are missing the key thing. Yep, is it?
So I'd like to just pick up on the last remark you mentioned that that you filed I think trademark or copyright, and then you're actually trying to patent that last slide.
Is it a patent? I'm sorry, that's trademark. Sorry.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
That was the question. I think that would be
no, that's
fairly
just trademark.
you'd be
Yeah.
suing all of us for license fees for something that I think is quite common.
Sorry
Thank
for
you.
that.
Are there any other questions? Great, thanks very much, Karen.
Thank you.